They told you the world rewards kindness. They lied. We grow up hearing inspiring tales of the Good Samaritan, the humble hero, the person who always puts others first and ultimately triumphs. We're taught that virtue is its own reward and that truly the nice guys finish first. But then you look around. You see the boardrooms, the political arenas, even the social circles around you. And you start to notice something unsettling. It seems the world often rewards something else entirely. It rewards ruthlessness. This isn't a cynical observation, but a critical one. It's about understanding the invisible forces at play in our quest for success, influence, and even just simple recognition. We're going to pull back the curtain on why confidence is often mistaken for competence, why fearlessness can be confused with leadership, and how people who feel less guilt might just be the ones taking more risks and, inadvertently, gaining more visibility. This isn't a guide on how to become ruthless, but a wake-up call to understand the game, so you can play it on your own terms. Think about it. Have you ever seen someone absolutely steamroll through a meeting, making bold, sometimes reckless statements, yet walk away with the project? Or watched a leader make an incredibly difficult, almost cold decision that, for some reason, everyone applauds as decisive and strong? This isn't always about superior skill or inherent wisdom. More often than we care to admit, it's about perception. Our brains are wired for shortcuts. When we see someone speaking with unwavering conviction, even if their ideas are half-baked, we often interpret that as a sign of intelligence or expertise. That's confidence looking exactly like competence. It's the person who speaks first, loudest, and most definitively capturing the room's attention, regardless of the actual quality of their input. A truly competent person might be quiet, thoughtful, considering all angles, but their measured approach can be mistaken for hesitation, or even worse, a lack of ideas. The same goes for leadership. We're drawn to figures who seem unshakable, who face down challenges without a flicker of doubt. We see fearlessness, and we equate it with the ability to lead us through any storm. But true leadership often requires vulnerability, empathy, and the courage to admit when you don't have all the answers. Yet, the person who plows forward, seemingly unfazed by obstacles or criticism, is often the one elevated to positions of power. They appear to be leading, not because they are charting the wisest course, but because they are simply moving with an undeniable force. Now let's talk about the engine that often drives this perceived confidence and fearlessness, a certain lack of guilt. Not necessarily malice, but a reduced burden from the weight of consequence or the feelings of others. People who feel less guilt tend to take more risks. This isn't always a conscious decision to harm, but rather a diminished emotional cost associated with potential failure, criticism, or the impact their actions might have on others. Imagine two entrepreneurs. One is brilliant, meticulous, and deeply cares about her team and her customers. She weighs every decision, worries about every potential pitfall, and sometimes this cautious, empathetic approach slows her down. The other is equally brilliant, but less burdened by these considerations. He's willing to pivot drastically, cut losses ruthlessly, push boundaries, and sometimes even bend rules without much emotional fallout. Who do you think is going to move faster? Who is going to jump on that new risky opportunity with both feet? The one with less guilt. And when you take more risks, you get more visibility. Some of those risks will fail spectacularly, but some will pay off in a big way. And it's these big payoffs, these visible successes, that often capture the spotlight. Think of the disruptors, the innovators who break norms. Sometimes their success stems from a genuine breakthrough. Other times, it comes from a sheer willingness to upset the apple cart, to offend, to ignore the established way of doing things because they simply don't feel the social pressure or the potential guilt of doing so. This increased visibility leads to more opportunities for advancement. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you're seen, the more you're heard, the more doors open. This isn't necessarily a reflection of superior skill or superior moral character. It's a consequence of operating often outside the constraints of conventional caution or conscience. They are not necessarily better, but they are certainly bolder, and in a world that often values speed and flash, boldness gets noticed. Now here's the crucial part. This observation is not a call to embrace ruthlessness. Let me be absolutely clear. This isn't an endorsement of cutting corners, exploiting people, or abandoning your moral compass. Instead, it's a profound call for understanding. It's about opening your eyes to how power dynamics truly function in the real world, not how we wish they did. The biggest mistake you can make, especially as a young professional, a student stepping into the workforce, an aspiring leader, or an entrepreneur trying to make your mark, is to be naive. Naivety is not morality. It's a shield made of tissue paper in a world that sometimes throws rocks. Simply being good-natured isn't enough to succeed. Being well-intentioned isn't sufficient for navigating the complexities of influence and power. If you believe that simply being a good person, working hard, and being kind will automatically guarantee your success and protect you from those who operate differently, you are setting yourself up for disappointment and potentially exploitation. To truly influence the world, to make a positive impact, to protect yourself and those you care about, you must first understand the underlying forces that may contradict your deepest values. Imagine a chess game. You can be the kindest person at the table, with the purest intentions, but if you don't understand how the pieces move, how strategies unfold, and how your opponent might exploit your blind spots, you will lose. The same applies to life. You don't have to become the ruthless player, but you absolutely must understand their moves, their motives, and their strategies. This strategic awareness is vital. It means you can identify when someone is operating from a place of perceived confidence rather than actual competence. It means you can recognize when fearlessness is being used as a blunt instrument rather than a genuine form of leadership. It allows you to anticipate, to protect yourself, and perhaps most importantly, to develop your own authentic influence that is both powerful and principled. You can be kind and aware. You can be ethical and effective. But you cannot be effective if your kindness blinds you to reality. This understanding is your power. It allows you to choose your battles wisely, to articulate your ideas with both conviction and substance, and to stand firm when others try to bulldoze their way through. It means you can build a career, a business, or a life that is successful not despite your values, but because you understand how to wield them in an informed, strategic way. So the world claims it rewards kindness, but often rewards ruthlessness. Why? Because confidence looks like competence, and fearlessness looks like leadership. People who feel less guilt take more risks, and more risks mean more visibility. But this isn't a reason to despair or to change who you are at your core. It's a reason to wake up, to observe, and to understand. Naivety is not morality. True influence comes from understanding the game, not just playing it blindly. If you want to understand influence, subscribe.